Welcome to Network Boats, and today we'll be counting down our picks for the top 10 most powerful navies in the world in 2021. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. Let's begin. Number 10. Republic of China Navy, Taiwan. The Republic of China Navy has significantly improved its naval defense technology over the past 2 decades, primarily by buying ships from the US and some warships from other countries. Now Taiwan can construct its vessels too. The Taiwanese Navy comprises nearly 38,000 operational personnel with over 100 active ships. Taiwan Navy includes around 4 destroyers, 22 frigates, 31 missile combatant ships, 4 submarines, 12 patrol boats, 9 minesweepers, 10 auxiliary warships, 1 amphibious warship, and 28 fighter aircraft. The Republic of China's primary task is to protect its surrounding waters and territories against a possible blockade, attack, or invasion by the People's Republic of China. Relatively, the Chinese have a more powerful navy than the Taiwanese. However, if both countries engage in maritime warfare, we can expect Taiwan to defend well in oceans. This deployment protects the Taiwan Strait and adjacent seas by naval exercises and counter-strike wartime counter-invasion activities. Number 9. Italian Navy. Italian Navy, officially Marina Militare Italiana, has a naval fleet with some 31,000 active personnel. Italian Navy operates warships of all types. They have 1 aircraft carrier from Cavour class, which is also their flagship. It can handle vertical takeoff and landing airplanes, Harriers and F-35Bs, helicopters, and aircraft systems. The Cavour can transport while holding troops and vehicles as well. A smaller aircraft carrier named Giuseppe Garibaldi is also in service. Italian Navy was known as the Royal Marine before the Second World War, as the Republic of Italy replaced the Kingdom of Italy. The fleet comprises 2 aircraft carriers, 6 diesel-powered submarines, 3 amphibious assault ships, 4 destroyers, 10 frigates, 5 corvettes, 10 coastal patrol boats, 10 offshore patrolling ships, 4 coastal patrol vessels, and 6 active anti-submarine frigates of Maestrale-class frigate. The Marine Brigade of Italy, San Marco Marine Brigade, has a strength of 3,800 men, and the Navy recruits the Amphibious Brigade on 3 amphibious transport vessels of the San Giorgio class. Navy built it on considering enhanced standards, which can bring more troops compared to the 3rd ship of San Giusto class. Italy is reportedly developing a new amphibian attack boat from Trieste. By 2022, this would take effort to replace the light aircraft carrier, Giuseppe Garibaldi. Number 8. Republic of Korea Navy. Since the 1990s, South Korea has significantly improved its naval strength to counter North Korea, having similar reasons as Taiwan. But unlike the Taiwanese Navy, which imports many ships from Western countries, the South Korean Navy operates every vessel made in their homeland. Most of them are designed and manufactured by state-owned companies, while private firms like Hyundai and Daewoo make the rest of the armed vessels. South Korea has about 70,000 active personnel, which is much more than the combined forces of our predecessors' Italian Navy and the Republic of China, Taiwan. Its naval fleet comprises 23 submarines, 1 amphibious assault ship, 6 landing vessels, 8 landing crafts, 12 destroyers, 14 frigates, 36 corvettes, 11 mine countermeasure ships, and 70 fighter aircraft. South Korea needs a powerful military to protect itself from its neighbors' sea-based attacks with a threat on the horizon. Thankfully, since the Korean War, the South Korean economy has slowly been improving, allowing the government to use modern military equipment without worrying about economic constraints. Based on what's happening regarding North Korea today, you can expect that the South Korean government will further boost the nation's coastal defenses. Although South Korean Marines were established many decades ago, it has recently become a competent ocean force as the 8th strongest navy in the world. Number 7. Indian Navy. India is slowly, but certainly improving the resources in its defense to become a global sea power. Considering the rising influence of its Chinese neighbor in the Asian Pacific, India, along with the United States, Japan, and Australia, formed an informal strategic alliance known as the Quadrilateral Security Dialogue. The INS Vikramaditya aircraft carrier is the flagship of the Indian Navy, a modified Kiev-class aircraft carrier. This carrier is moderate in terms of the number of naval aviation carrying capacity. The state-owned company, Cochin Shipyard, built the first homemade aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant, which was commissioned in 2013 and is more capable than its Russian-made predecessor. Both INS Vikrant and INS Vikramaditya have increased India's power projection capacity dramatically through the Indian Ocean. The third one, the INS Vishal aircraft carrier, also known as the Indigenous Aircraft Carrier 2, is planned and to be constructed by Cochin Shipyard for the Indian Navy. INS Vishal will be India's second aircraft carrier and first supercarrier. In total, 11 destroyers are operating at the Indian Navy, including 3 destroyers of the Calcutta class, 2 Delhi class, and 5 older destroyers in the Rajput class. Indian Navy had crafted many of them in modern technology, including 3 Shivalik and 6 Talwar missile-guided frigates. There is also a single frigate of the Godavari class, 3 older Brahmaputra classes, and 26 corvettes intended to protect coastal waters. Indian Navy will soon operate single ballistic missile class submarines, while the second class ship will be commissioned shortly. These submarines with nuclear power have been developed and incorporated with high secrecy. Along with diesel-powered submarines, the Indian Navy has 2 nuclear-powered submarines. The Indian Navy is modernizing to upgrade its outdated military technology and ramping up the domestic defense industry. In 2021, Landing Craft Utility, LCU Mark IV class was commissioned in Navy. Designed and built by Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Ltd, GRSE, Kolkata. These vessels play a primary role in transporting battle tanks, vehicles, troops, and equipment from ship to shore. Experts often regard this modernization as part of India's defense plan to develop coastal water security and strengthen its influence in the Indian Ocean. Number 6. French Navy. The French Navy, La Royale, was established in 1624 by the Kingdom of France and is one of the world's oldest naval forces. The French Navy served a vital role in building the French colonial empire and helping Allied forces win both world wars. The fleet comprises about 36,000 working naval officers, about 200 aircraft with a single carrier, 4 submarines, 6 attack submarines with combat ballistic missiles, 3 amphibious warfare ships, 4 air defense destroyers, 5 general-purpose frigates, 6 surveillance frigates, 21 patrol vessels, and 18 mine counterattack warships. The list also comprises various supporting and assisting ships, including training ships, tugboats, and refueling vessels. France is also one of the nuclear forces in the world, so it's not surprising that there's such a considerable force on the coastline. It's also one of the best navies in the world as defined by its role in intelligence preserving, public protection, crisis prevention, and preventing the threat of possible invasion. The Marine Nationale comprises 4 branches: Force d'Action Naval, Force Sous-Marines, Aéronavale, Fusilière Marine. The naval force operates many combat ships, including nuclear carriers, nuclear submarines, and frigates. Among them is the French Navy flagship Charles de Gaulle aircraft carrier, which is a unique class aircraft carrier. New frigates will be commissioned soon to replace destroyers class Cassard and classes Georges Legois with frigates of class Aquitaine. Number 5. Royal Navy. The British Empire was the biggest empire in the world that controlled almost all oceans, seas, and territorial waters from the mid-18th century to the early 20th century. Similarly, the Royal Navy was once the world's strongest navy, with a powerful influence still to this day. It had an unrivaled influence and played a major role in the development of the British Empire. The United States Navy only surpassed it when the Second World War was over. Speaking about its current capabilities, 2 aircraft carriers of the Queen Elizabeth class are operating with an initial capability, with HMS Queen Elizabeth as the fleet's lead ship. British naval aircraft carriers are smaller than American carriers, but slightly more prominent than Russian and Chinese ones. The British Navy owns 6 anti-air fighting destroyers, and these vessels patrol vast areas to provide the fleet with air defense. In contrast to the Daring-class destroyers, 13 Duke frigates are mostly used for anti-submarine warfare. There is a well-respected Royal Marine Commando Brigade of 7,700 personnel in the Royal Navy. The Royal Marines are the European Union's most potent naval infantry force, second in the world after U.S. Marine Corps. Additionally, there are 2 landing ships in Class Albion and 3 logistic landing platform vessels in the Bay class. 3 nuclear-powered submarines are operating in the Astute class. 3 nuclear-powered attacking Trafalgar-class active warships that will slowly retire in the coming years. The British also maintain 4 Vanguard ballistic missile submarines and Tomahawk cruise missiles for all subs. Each of these ships can carry a maximum of 192 nuclear warheads, and this power is enough to wipe out entire countries at once. The fleet contains 1 aircraft carrier, 3 ballistic missile submarines, 6 nuclear power submarines, 3 amphibious vessels, 6 destroyers, 13 frigates, 3 offshore patrol ships, 13 mine hunters, 18 fast patrol boats. The Royal Navy also uses an HMS Bristol destroyer Type 82 and an HMS Victory ship of the line. The latter is noteworthy as the oldest naval vessel ever afloat and serves as the First Sea Lord's flagship. Number 4. Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force. The Japanese Navy was officially established a few years after the Second World War, after the Imperial Japanese Navy was dissolved. Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force is the maritime warfare branch of the Japanese Self-Defense Forces, consisting of 50,800 personnel, 150 ships, and almost 346 aircraft. The Japan Self-Defense Maritime Force comprises 7 warships, 40 destroyers, 6 frigates, 4 air defense destroyers, 3 landing ships, 2 landing crafts, 25 counter-attack vessels, 6 patrol ships, and 8 training boats. Japan recently modernized its marine facilities, just like South Korea, to defend itself from the North Korean, Chinese, and Russian threats. Nonetheless, the Japanese government finds nuclear weapons to be dissuasive for North Korea. The Japanese Sea Forces are a Japanese self-defense military unit, which is responsible for Japan's coastal defenses. Their naval expansion is legally limited to military doctrine, as a part of the Japanese constitution. It operates state-of-the-art warships and submarines. In contrast, they keep the Japanese fleet ready and highly efficient. Therefore, while Japanese navies lose their numbers and tonnage to the Chinese fleet, Japanese warships are more modern and equipped with advanced arms. The Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force has no nuclear-powered submarines, but has around 20 submarines. As far as Japan does not use nuclear warships, it has built up diesel submarines that have improved strength and offensive capabilities. Yet Japan does not have any underwater ballistic missiles or strategic ballistic missiles. Naval aircraft in Japan comprises about 70 Lockheed P-3C Orions and a dozen Kawasaki Navy P-1s. Before we move on, be sure to subscribe to Network Boats with notifications on. Number 3. Russian Navy. Succeeding from Red Fleet, the Russian Navy was officially established in 1992 following the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It comprises about 148,000 active personnel and over 300 operational vessels and 300 boats, which almost triples the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force's active staff. Russia's naval fleet includes 1 cargo carrier, 1 battle cruiser, 3 cruisers, 13 destroyers, 8 frigates, 78 corvettes, 17 submerged SSNs, 22 submarines, 13 submarines for ballistic weapons, 7 submarines of cruise missiles, 3 submarines for special purposes. The Russian Navy inherited the fleet from the Soviet Navy after the fall of the USSR. The Soviet fleet has decreased substantially since the early 1990s with the end of the Cold War and the resulting funding problems. Cold War remnants are the bulk of its vessels. In the last 2 decades, because of its small funding, the Russian defense has faced problems maintaining its main troops. 3 smaller missile Slava-class cruisers offer great anti-ship, anti-aircraft guided missile destroyer, and anti-submarine warfare capabilities. While Russia is better known for its strong ground forces, military, its navy was not as powerful as its Western counterparts. But the time has changed, as the modern Russian Navy is now an indication that Russia is well prepared for sea skirmishes, making it a formidable force. Still, the Russian Navy falls behind the Chinese Navy on paper in overall warship numbers and tonnage. Russia, however, has several proven ballistic missile submarines, which have been extremely deadly. It still has the most powerful submarine in the world, the Typhoon-class submarine. Number 2. People's Liberation Army Navy. According to the recent U.S. Defense Report estimates, China has the largest navy in the world in 2021 in terms of the naval fleet. China's navy has rapid growth in its offensive arsenal by building new warships and submarines and is still building out new ships faster than ever. The Chinese Navy is officially called the People's Liberation Army Navy, has a strength of about 255,000 active personnel. Chinese Navy owns a single Liaoning aircraft carrier, which was commissioned in 2018 and is used primarily as a training ship. A similar carrier is scheduled to start operations around the end of 2020. But these newer warships are not as potent as their Western or Russian counterparts. On the other hand, the construction of new advanced warships is growing rapidly. It's expected that about 5 to 6 guidance missile cruisers of Type 055 destroyer are about to be completed by this year. People's Liberation Army Navy quickly arose as one of the world's most powerful maritime forces. And number 1, the United States Navy. Comparatively, the Chinese Navy has a numerical advantage in terms of the total fleet. The US is still the world's most powerful navy for the superior technological edge. The US shifted its naval functionalities from a possible direct war with the Soviet Union to regional conflicts in the early 1990s following the Cold War. For lower funding and lack of adequate threat currently, but mainly to the cost of smaller ships, US fleets continue to decline instead of major surface combatant soldiers and the most deadly submarines. In the early 20th century, the US took over the British Empire in terms of naval strength, big thanks to one of our best presidents, Theodore Roosevelt, who employed big stick ideology. The US Navy operates 11 large aircraft carriers with 5th-generation technology fighter jets. There are 21 commissioned carriers from Nimitz to the largest carrier class, Gerald R. Ford, and 3 Tarawa-class carriers in reserve. They can operate fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters and are nuclear-powered, and each carrier can carry 70 to 80 attack fighter jets or fast planes for reconnaissance. America-class amphibious assault ships and Wasp-class amphibious assault ships are some of the best warships in the world. Each of these warships carries approximately 1,700 to 2,000 Marines and blinded vehicles and delivers tilt rotors, helicopters, and hovercraft to shore. The U.S. Navy owns the USS Zumwalt, the largest and most powerful Navy ship in the world ever built. Before joining the Pacific Fleet, this 610-foot-long, 15,000-ton behemoth started sea trials in 2015. Despite being the most massive destroyer, it has stealth technology, having a radar cross-section, just like small boats. You might wonder how many ships are in the U.S. Navy? According to the Naval Vessel Register and published reports, the United States Navy has over 490 ships in both active and reserve operations. Additionally, with approximately 90 others in planning and ordering phases or in construction. Nuclear-powered attack submarines patrol waters near the United States or far away from the seas, making effective anti-submarine efforts useless. Nearly 3,700 planes serve the U.S. Navy. Most of these are multi-role fighters of the FA-18 family, another aircraft associated with them based on carrier aircraft. Fun fact, technically the U.S. Navy is the second most powerful air force in the world after the U.S. Air Force, if we can consider the number of total fighter planes and attack helicopters commissioned in the U.S. Navy. And this completes our list of the top 10 most powerful navies in the world in 2021. Which one do you think is number 1? Let us know in the comments section below. For more, subscribe to our channel and check out some of our other popular videos.